Previously on The Business.
Good morning, Mel Attree. How are you this morning?
Good morning, I'm fine. How are you?
Top class, thank you. Welcome back to the show. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of why you're here to talk more about social media, about the media, about all things digital, and about all sorts of ideas and thoughts that you may have in your head. Astrid brought up something rather pertinent, so I'm going to start there. Of course, this week in Barcelona, there's been the World Mobile Congress. The gathering of mobile minds and brains and stuff. All of the big manufacturers have launched their new handsets or ideas of what they might be doing going forward. Have you been keeping an eye on that? Is there anything that you've picked up from there that you think might be worthwhile talking about today?
I have kept a very close eye on it. I think we'll probably see coming out of that, we'll start seeing the tech that actually really makes sense, if you know what I mean. I think there are a lot of concepts and a lot of things that are discussed, but I mean, I don't think we can deny that the fact that, mobile is really being called the second screen or the first screen, the primary screen for a lot of people. And obviously people like Samsung kind of really turning a lot of stuff on its head. So that's going to be interesting to watch going forward.
I'm interested to see that everyone's still playing catch up with Apple. They're still doing things which Apple are doing. And now there's this new fight that's happening, of course, which is on everyone's wrists. And Samsung, of course, have released their answer to the Fitbit and all of those things. In my opinion, it's becoming a bit of a yawn, really.
I think there's a point at which, we kind of reach tech saturation, I guess. And everyone's it kind of feels samey with a lot of stuff. And I'm kind of hoping that, what comes out next is going to be something where everyone's going to say, oh, wow, well, that's flipping amazing. And if anyone can do that, it's the smart Koreans. I mean, let's be honest. They've got tech that we haven't even kind of thought possible yet. So it's possibly just how do they roll that out and how do they package it so that you can bring it to consumers at a price point that isn't completely insane.
All right. We're here to talk more about the Oscar trial. You are very involved with this. This is something that is quite close to your business line, as so to speak. Just tell us about the preparations and what folks can expect media-wise and digitally from this Oscar trial, which kicks off on Monday. Yeah,
so I just wanted to kind of just chat about this a bit because it is going to consume the majority of kind of social media interaction going forward for the next couple of weeks. The trial is supposed to run until the 20th, and as you said, starts Monday. So I just wanted to perhaps just draw attention to the fact that we need to, as responsible kind of social media users, we need to remember that whatever we say on social media platforms can be taken into account. From a personal point of view, you are held liable for what you put onto social platforms. Now, that goes as far as to say that, if perhaps you were to be really slanderous and say absolutely appalling things about any party in the case, you need to be cognizant of the fact that you can be held accountable for those should the other party choose to sue. I'm no legal expert, but I think we have to be aware of the fact that when you put stuff out on public, on social media platforms, you have to kind of think, would I be happy if I went on TV and I said that? Would I be happy to have a billboard kind of stating my tweet? And if so, then by all means, roll with it. But just bear in mind that in terms of the latest legal kind of findings that are coming out, a retweet of something is an endorsement of that fact. A retweet with a comment can be held as an endorsement of that fact. And you can even go as far as to say that a like or a share on Facebook is seen as a potential endorsement as well. So I just want people to be kind of responsible in terms of how they use social media during a time which is going to be incredibly kind of heated and is very emotional and very passionate for many people. And I think that just bears kind of mentioning. On that point, if you kind of want to follow a really kind of informed and objective legal opinion from someone who has got a great deal of common sense, I think that you should be looking at following Emma Sadleir on Twitter. Her handle is at Emma, and then it's Sadleir. She's a lawyer who specializes in social media, and she's going to be providing a lot of commentary on the Oscar trial. And I like it because she talks about legal issues, and she talks about the law in plain English, as opposed to kind of using this highfalutin kind of language that nobody understands. So it's going to be interesting to see what she's going to be saying. And then also, on top of that, I think we're going to have, keep an eye on Barry Bateman if you want to know what's happening in court. Keep an eye on Eyewitness News because they'll also have guys kind of following what's happening. And of course, Oscar Trial 199 is tied up with those people as well, so follow that. And, I think the basic kind of hashtag everyone's going to be using is Oscar Trial. Also, with the fact that they ruled this past week that audio recordings will be broadcast from the courtroom, that is pretty revolutionary in terms of a decision by the courts. And as far as I know, I think critical rulings will be made available via video as well. So all in all, it's going to be a crazy circus. I mean, they're calling it kind of the trial of the century, and it's going to be really interesting to see how social media and the broadcast media platforms kind of work together during this time.
Mel, it's Astrid. We spoke a while back about share of voice in the marketing space going largely to the trial over the month of March.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, do you think there are going to be some marketers who are going to somehow try and leverage that share of voice and do a kind of a campaign or the odd ad, the kind of Nando's approach, by latching onto something so topical? Or do you think the legal ramifications are going to scare marketers away?
I would hope from we have to remember that this is it's a high-profile trial, and that people, a lot of people are affected. And as a marketer, I honestly wouldn't even try and gain any kind of following or jump on the bandwagon with regards to marketing any of my stuff, because I think it's probably going to be seen as tasteless. I know there was an incident with Charlie's Bakery just 2 days ago, who really made a complete mistake.
With which bakery, sorry?
Charlie's Bakery is in Cape Town, and they released a series of cupcakes which basically created some sort of a meme around the Oscar trial, and they were immediately slammed on social media. I think there has to be a degree of EQ that's put into play when you think about this kind of stuff. And I really don't, I think the smart brands, if you're smart, I don't think you're going to try and capitalize on this. The second thing is, I think if you're planning to launch anything groundbreaking or amazing over the next 3 weeks, think very carefully about the time. Your impact,
in other words,
your
don't.
impact is going to be lost because there's too much going on. I don't think you're going to be able to cut through that noise. So think about it very carefully, and if it means that you need to kind of chill for the next couple of weeks and get stuff together and think about amazing things going forward, then so be it.
Maybe we should take a holiday.
Yeah, we'll just go on
Now's
holiday.
the time to
I tell
take
you
some leave.
what we'll do,
Yeah.
we'll just put up the audio feed taken from somewhere
There
else
you
and
go.
just go on holiday for 3 weeks.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, that's great. That's a great piece of advice,
Cool.
not to launch
Yeah.
anything or do anything around that. What about
I think, it's possible, but I mean, I just think it's a lot of noise to cut through, and it makes your work really, really hard. Anyway.
What about the actual outcome and the influence of this trial? Almost a trial by the public when it comes to social media and to the digital space of people focusing their attention on Oscar. Has something been said? Is there a kind of an unspoken standard where people just won't do things in order to not influence the outcome? Because that's something that is a very real issue, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it absolutely is. And I think, look, at the end of the day, we don't have the jury system in this country,
Yeah.
and that's probably a good thing with regards to social media, because it's really tricky to close people off from absolutely everything that's happening around them. And whether you think you're influenced or not, you are. I mean, we're human beings. We're obviously influenced. At the end of the day, this is a court kind of hearing with a judge who decides. And I think it's that simple. The stuff that goes on around the scenes, I think it'll be up to kind of Oscar's kind of PR people or whatever to decide if they take that, any further in terms of allegations or defamatory kind of comments.
I also see.
But the two are separate.
I also see that Oscar's family/legal team/ side, if you will, and I hate to use that term, but to kind of be broad about it, have set up a Twitter account to almost defend or get the actual facts out during this trial as well. Have you got any more information on that?
Look, the information is that it's legal. They can do that. It's just a really interesting use of social media, which I don't think we've actually seen before.
No.
So using social media just to kind of get your point across, I suppose. It's not going to impact the ruling. It's not going to impact anyone else. But I think they feel that probably it has an impact on perception. Then so be it. It's going to be interesting to watch that. I think it's a move by the PR company to try and contain kind of what people are saying and to get their message across quickly and clearly.
It's because, I mean, they didn't really have a voice when this all happened. It happened so quickly his uncle was coming out with statements, kind of standing in front of cameras in a shocked state, going, reading from a piece of paper. But I mean, this truly does give them a voice to be able to calmly and collectively make a calculated response and then get it out there.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's an interesting attempt by them to try and use social for a bigger kind of purpose for them. It's going to be interesting to watch. That's all I can say. And it's quite remarkable in terms of how we're seeing social used as an immediate kind of platform. But I mean, it's legal. They can do that. So let's see what happens.
Okay, cool. Let's move on from Moscow. It's all eyes on Monday on the trial. So we're going to be talking plenty more about it. I have no doubt that next week we'll talk about it as well. You mentioned Google Plus in your preamble as well. Is this something you want to talk about?
So I wanted to just to change the topic completely and make perhaps a little less depressing. To talk about the fact that to talk about Google Plus specifically, and how I think it has great benefit for small business in particular. Google Plus is a platform that is not widely used locally. It's growing, but I think the reason why it's not widely used is that a lot of people just seem to feel, on a personal level anyway, I've got Twitter, I've got Facebook, I've got a lot going on. I just don't have time for another social media platform. The really cool thing is that when you start to explore the intricacies of Google Plus, it becomes very interesting for business and especially for small businesses in terms of getting involved in social media. So whatever we say is with regards to social media, when you're planning to start putting information out there, to start building communities, you have to have some form of a centralized hub. And a hub, ideally, call it a content hub, call it a center of intelligence, call it a blog, whatever you want to call it. It's a place that stores all of your content and makes it indexable and shareable, whether that's original content or curated content. We often talk about the fact that your content, whatever you're putting out there, and think of content in terms of written images, videos, audio, whatever it is. Content is curated, can be created, and can be crowdsourced, which is where your user-generated content comes in. So what we say is you've got to have a hub. Everyone needs a home to go to. So you've got to have a hub where you kind of index and you store that content. Now, unfortunately, a lot of small businesses don't have the means or the kind of infrastructure to be able to build hubs, to build blogs or to get people to develop stuff for them, which is where, for me, Google Plus comes in as a fake kind of dummy hub, if you like. So what it means is you create a Google Plus page for your business, for your brand, and then Twitter, Facebook, all of YouTube, they become spokes around that where you share your kind of headlines through. The key thing with Google Plus is that because if you're putting a load of information onto Twitter and Facebook that you think that is originally created, that is opinion pieces, all that kind of thing, it's not searchable, it's not indexed, and it's not stored on the web. It disappears. These are not places to be putting content that you want to last for a lifetime. However, if you're using Google Plus, any content that you put on there is stored, it's searchable, and it's aggregated. So from an SEO point of view, obviously the benefits are amazing. But also from an indexable and aggregation point of view, it means that you give your content a lot more longevity than you do on other social platforms.
Let me just get this right. I'm going to go back one step. You mentioned that any article or any content that you upload. So I'm assuming, and we're getting quite technical now. So let's not be technical. Any article that you just repost, for example, on Facebook, does not get indexed according to a Google search engine.
Well, it's not going to be indexed on your stuff. If you as a brand posting a link to something else. Ultimately, that information, I suppose, is there somewhere,
Yep.
but it takes a really long time to find it. Twitter doesn't
That's
store that
interesting.
information. Facebook takes a long time to find it. If you've got 2,000 friends on Facebook, I think it's your feed, your news feed, I think is lasting 5 minutes. If you have 500 friends, it's 15 minutes. Those are interesting because there's too much to filter through. Whereas on Google Plus, you then tag it, you index it properly, and then people are able to search and find
Very
and share your
interesting.
content a lot
Very
easier.
interesting.
And it gets rated on Google, which is ultimately, as a small business, you want to have that.
Of course.
The other really important thing about Google Plus is that you're able to develop circles of interest. So different people, you can feed different content to different people. So if you're a lifestyle brand and I create a circle around moms and I create a circle around teens and I create a circle around retired people, I can feed them each different content. That's incredible. You can't actually do that in many other places.
No.
And those people don't know where they've been they don't know what circle they're in. So I just think from a targeting point of view, from a content aggregation point of view, from a smart way of kind of faking or dummying a real content hub to start with, Google Plus makes a hell of a lot of sense to me for local small businesses.
Well, exactly. I was going to say it has massive impact for your small business or even a medium-sized business because it is so easy to use and it's free, of course. All it'll take is your time. It'll take your time.
Yes.
Right, Mel, that is all we have time for today. I wish you a beautiful weekend. Thank you for all those tidbits. And we will no doubt be talking more about Oscar and other shenanigans which are going on next week. Thanks for your time today. Have a good weekend.
Cool stuff. Thanks, Ed.
Okay, Mel. Bye-bye.
The Business on Balls. Weekdays 11 a.m. to 12 p.m.
On balls.co.za.
Brought to you by FNB Business Banking.